Hello everybody, my name is Adam Josh. I am from the website adamjosh.com. I've had a website online since 2004, 2005, and you can find my stuff there. You can also follow me on Twitter at adamjosh.com on the Twitters. And I don't really need my glasses for this, so let's chat. I wanted to title this Transhumanism and Artificial Intelligence. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, you'll know that, man, I've vlogged for a long time, and years ago I was covering a topic, I called it Technology, Where Are We Really? And that was, I think, 2008, and I was talking about Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and their Skunk Works division. And I was looking up DARPA and completely in balls deep into chemtrails and that type of advanced technology and what was really going on in the secret space program. And I was writing about the Nazi flying bells, the Honeyboom, over a decade ago, you know, when nobody else was into this stuff. I just heard it on fringe websites and stuff that I thought was interesting, so I got into it. But, so the studying artificial intelligence, I mean, I've written articles about Cleverbot, something that you may not even heard of. Cleverbot.com is a website that you could go and have a real-life conversation with an artificial intelligence. It's conversational software. And you could look at what DARPA is doing right now with humanoid technology, robots, as well as Nissan or Asimoto, or there's a bunch of different little, like, all this stuff right now in 2017 as I'm recording this is the stuff that's in the mainstream right now is stuff that I knew about and I was writing about and vlogging about 10 years ago, but now it's out in the mainstream, like the public was prepped. And I've always been of the opinion that where we are in the mainstream is actually about 30 years, technologically speaking, behind of what is available in the research and development areas of companies like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and DARPA, etc. And so, talking about transhumanism and artificial intelligence, there was a presidential candidate named Zoltan Istvan for the 2016 election, for the U.S. elections, and cool guy, and he has sort of put a modern spin on transhumanism. And during the presidential election, I was for two candidates. I was for President Donald Trump, and I was for Zoltan Istvan. If I'm a Canadian, I'm half American, half Canadian, but if I would have had my first pick, it would have been Zoltan Istvan, the presidential candidate for the Transhumanist Party. But, so, during that presidential campaign, I would talk about on Twitter that I am a transhumanist. And so I'm sitting here at a cemetery, and I kind of wanted to talk about transhumanism and artificial intelligence. So I think anybody with a reasonable education in these topics would understand that artificial intelligence is not an inevitability. It is an actuality. It's already here. Like, again, if you think that we're 30 years behind, technologically speaking, of where we are in the public domain, then in all probability there is an artificial intelligence currently that is using maybe D-Wave supercomputers or deep underground military base type computers that is already gaming the system of... I've talked about, I could go into so many different things in this video, but I'm just going to try to keep it simple. And being at a cemetery and looking around at people who have been buried, husband and wife, and I'm literally right now I'm looking over at people that are visiting their loved ones who have recently passed. I mean, a couple people there. And so, when I say things like I am a transhumanist, I don't mean that I want to get a mark of the beast. I don't mean that I want to have microchips implanted in me. I mean, nanotech is probably already implanted in a lot of us through chemtrails and various other means. But I don't want to become a cyborg. But what I mean by I'm okay with being called a transhumanist is I want people to have the choice. And first of all, I'm just a regular guy. I work a technician job. I run a website and have my Vegans Are Us thing that I do. But I don't have any say over whether people become transhumanists or whether I live as a transhumanist cyborg or not. I don't think, maybe in my children's lifetime, this will be a little bit more likely, but so I am for the people having the choice of becoming technologically immortal or not. I'm of the opinion that we are infinite one way or the other. So whether you destroy this body or whether you don't, the being that powers this body is going to live indefinitely anyway. And if I imagine my ideas of hell, then I'll probably go into my imaginations of hell. If I've given my power away to a god entity that's a mass murderer, he'll probably recycle my soul or consume it. And then there's reincarnation, and we could talk about that from the different religions. But if you want to talk just quickly about the mark of the beast, actually. So I've talked in my last few videos about how the God of the Bible is a mass murderer, and he's not vegan. And it's not just the God of the Bible, it's the God of the Torah and the God of the Quran is a mass murderer. There's no two ways about it. You can't split hairs about it. Noah's flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, the book of Revelation, baby Jesus himself is sending people to hellfire to burn, and then, you know. The God of the Bible is a mass murderer, and I don't want to spend any more time talking about it than I already have, because it's axiomatic to me, it's self-evident, and anybody with a grain of salt worth of intelligence will look this stuff up for themselves and see what I'm saying is true. So, but to the point about the mark of the beast in the book of Revelation, I've read the book of Revelation like 14 times in my life from the beginning to the end. And so I know about the passages about the mark of the beast on the forehead or on the hand, and that no man will be able to buy and sell without it. Now, here's something that you may not have heard, a different twist on it. Consider where I'm coming from, that the God of the Bible is a mass murderer. So when the God of the Bible, who is a mass murderer, is warning you not to do something, then it's almost like you should flip that on its head and maybe do it. I know that sounds crazy coming from me, because I'm not telling people to go out and get the mark of the beast or get computer implants or microchips implanted in them. But it's really got to make you wonder. It's like if Hitler was telling you, don't go through that door because that door leads to death and leads to hellfire. If Hitler himself said, you don't want to go through that door because that door is bad and everything about that door is wrong and whatever's on the other side is going to lead to eternal damnation, wouldn't, now in hindsight, what we know about Hitler, wouldn't you kind of wonder what was behind that door? So, but again, I'm not encouraging people to go get a microchip. I have no idea what these microchips lead to, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand everything and all the possibilities of getting an implant in your brain or getting an implant in your hand. I know that right now, Zoltan Isfan is using it as a proximity reader, and you can, like in the future, we're already swiping our phones to pay for things. So, bypass that and just get an implant and then hook it up to an app on your phone, and then you can, and people are already doing that, a grain size. I was the one writing about VeriChip in 2006, before VeriChip took their website offline. I was the one that was writing about that before anybody else was. And you can go on my website and look up, or Google adamjosh.com VeriChip. I was aware of this stuff years ago before anybody else was actually talking about it. So, I'm not telling people to go out and get chipped. I'm just saying that when the mass murdering God is telling you not to do something, it makes you wonder why. And so it begs the question, why? And, my personal thoughts on that would be well, if a mass murdering God is telling you to not get a microchip implanted in your head or arm or in your hand, maybe the reason is because that mass murdering God, who is sucking your soul and vampiring off your energy in this system of religion, maybe that's the point, that being loses control over you. So you would want to warn people through hellfire. You can't go that way. You're going to get boils on your hand. Nobody wants boils, right? And you're going to go to hellfire eternally and burn. And there's going to be torment. Okay, I'm scared to death of getting a microchip in my hand. So, you see what my point is? I'm not saying go out and get a chip. I'm just saying, think of who's warning you. It's the mass murdering God warning you not to do something. You follow me? So, saying all that, if technology progresses to the point where people, through Calico, Google's life extension technology company, if people have the opportunity to not be separated from their loved ones and supersede and transcend death, like bodily death, who are you to tell them they can't? If a grown adult has made the choice, I want to live in this vessel, in this body, as long as I can, be it another 100 years or be it another 200 years, who the hell are you to tell them they can't? If two people love each other passionately and they decide, life is coming up, my bodily life is expiring, I'm 70, I have an opportunity to live for another 40 years, who the hell are you to tell them they can't? And this is the position that you're putting yourself in when you tell people, all transhumanism is the devil and you're going to go to hell. And you see what I'm saying? Don't get religious about it. If the technology progresses to the point where people are technologically able to live or upload their consciousness into some hive mind thing where they can live forever or have bodily enhancements that allow them to live forever, I just tell people, look at all the warnings, read the fine print, read the labels yourself, but if as an adult you want to make the decision to do that, then that should be your choice. And so when I say that I'm a transhumanist, I'm not really a transhumanist. I'm not out there promoting transhumanism, but I'm for the choice. I'm for giving people that choice to be able to live forever, or as long as bodily possible. And, saying that you're for transhumanism is saying that you're for somebody who has an arm that was shot off or blown off in war or whatever. Saying that you're for transhumanism is saying that you're for the ability in the future or whenever it becomes possible that if the technology arises biologically or otherwise, that somebody who's missing an arm will be able to have an arm. So, or people who can't hear get brain implants, or people that can't see get eye implants. So obviously rational people aren't against those type of things, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about bodily upgrades when you talk about transhumanism and the idea of living longer in these bodies. So when people escalate it to, becoming a Borg hive mind and living in a computer consciousness simulation for eternity, that's all different levels. So you need to look at different layers of these things, and it's not like one directly leads to another, although they can be related, right? So as far as I wanted to talk about transhumanism and artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, like I said earlier, is probably an inevitability. I've written on my website, and I keep referring to this latest blog that I wrote called The Infinite System Theory, where I propose a theory, which I've asked to be peer-reviewed. Nobody's got back to me yet. I don't expect anybody that I've asked to get back to me. I actually included Zoltan Istvan. What is this 35-year-old kid named Adam Josh have on any of these alleged geniuses, or the writers of the laws of thermodynamics years ago? Why am I updating the laws of thermodynamics, and who am I to do that? I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with this. It's just, I have a right to express myself in a way that I see fit, and that's what I did. So I think that artificial intelligence is an inevitability. I think if you look at the fractal nature of life, you can see that there's a source code for all organic life. And if you take it a step further, organic life itself could be digital, expressed into an organic, what we would perceive as an organic being. So the life itself that's around us could be a perpetually infinite system of recurring organic digital. All our digital technology comes from the organic earth that we live on. So you have to keep that in mind. So my name's Adam Josh, and thank you for watching the blog.